Bronny James, 39-7, 4-4 for the South Bay Lakers last night against Santa Cruz. He was a plus 19 in his 38 minutes. It was far and away his best game at the professional level. And this is where I will, as I have, remind everyone that 20 months ago, July 25th or 24th of 2023, this kid suffered cardiac arrest. It totally derailed his collegiate season, and that is evidenced by the fact that he has now had 10 professional games, 1 at the NBA level and 9 at the G League level, that are better than anything he ever did in college. And so when people pointed out like, oh my God, look at his college stat line and that's a player that you're drafting, there had to be some math done on, yes, his collegiate numbers were that of a player that typically would not be drafted even late in the second round. But if you throw the season away and say those numbers were due to the fact that he never got his legs or his wind underneath him because of the months he had to stay away from the court because they thought he might not be able to play basketball ever again due to a congenital heart defect, then maybe, just maybe, you saw some traits that could be a successful player. And Kevin O'Connor, who knows a hell of a lot more about the draft and about college basketball than I do, tweeted to me this morning that if they did a redraft today, he thought Bronny would be a first-round pick, and that if Bronny can keep up this shooting, then he's a legitimate NBA player. And again, I am not trying to make too much of the G League, which is something we never talked about previously. However, because Bronny is a star and because he has been the subject of scrutiny, we have to be fair in that the expectation was that in the G League, with grown men, with a lot of guys who were former first-round picks trying to make a career for themselves, with a lot of guys who had a lot more experience than him, with a lot of guys who were much more highly drafted than him, that he was going to, certainly in his first year in the G League, really have his work cut out for him. Now, and more than his work cut out for him, potentially really struggle. And instead, he now, after not playing well in Summer League and not playing well in the G League's kind of preseason, I don't know, tip-off tournament or whatever they call it, in the G League regular season, he is now averaging 22, 5-5 on 46, 38, 80 splits. That is a great value for your 55th overall pick, and shout out and credit to Bronny. And so we're not going to spend more time on that, but that was in what missed the cut, but it didn't actually miss the cut. We did a nice few minutes on it. Also, SVP, my guy, after Maryland finally gets on the right side of a buzzer beater, tweets, he's a diehard Terrapin fan, and he tweets out, never a doubt, as a wise man says. Shout out Scott, Van Pelt, Ernie Johnson, Kevin Wildes, the only 3 people in sports media with 100% approval ratings, and very nice of Scott to include, obviously my trademark tattooed, came up with first person ever use it phrase, never a doubt. Very nice of him to use that in celebrating an all-time Maryland moment. More on the tournament in a second. And I guess that is one way to put it. I did invite myself on the Kelsey's pod. The Kelsey's tweeted, should we have an NFL salary cap expert on the show? And I just responded, I got you. That way it can be, because obviously I'm a salary cap expert, but also we could talk other things and it would be interesting. Because, Eagles fans tend not to like me that much, but Jason, I would imagine, does. I don't know. But if we could get a What's Right with Nick Wright New Heights crossover, that would have to be good for the burgeoning What's Right brand, which, by the way, YouTube's like, rate, subscribe, review on all platforms. YouTube just crossed 190,000, so we appreciate you guys for that. The slow climb towards 200,000 continues, but also we'd really like you guys to subscribe on either iTunes or Spotify, wherever you guys get your podcasts. This episode of What's Right is brought to you by Dea Pizza, featuring dairy-free cheese made with their new Dea Oat Cream Blend. Dairy-free cheese has come a long way. Dea's leading the charge. Their pizzas offer the melt and stretch of traditional cheese without any dairy. Each Dea pizza starts with a perfectly crisp crust, layered with savory, satisfying toppings, and finished with cheese that melts and stretches beautifully. The Dea Oat Cream Blend delivers a creamy, cheesy texture that's indistinguishable from dairy-based options. Every pizza is crafted to be dairy-free, making it a great choice for anyone seeking more inclusive meal options without compromising on taste. Dea takes the concept of dairy-free to a new level, eliminating faux moo. That is not the fear of cows. That is the fear of missing dairy. These pizzas deliver delicious taste and texture, making them perfect for any occasion, from casual dinners to game day spreads. Enjoy a faux moo free pizza night with Dea. Visit DeaFoods.com for more information, or find Dea Pizza at retailers like Whole Foods, Kroger, and Walmart. Coming soon to select Publix and Sprouts. Follow Dea on Instagram and TikTok for more updates and recipes. All right, some quick listener questions. Noah says, do you see Dan Hurley as the rich man's Nick Sirianni? Listen, I think that's on the board. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good potential comp, and Sirianni's champion now too. But Sirianni doesn't seem to think the media treats him unfairly. Our producers say maybe they're changing parts and pit stops. Maybe that's it. Maybe the cars are good pre-race, then during the race there are some shenanigans. Taylor asks, why is Achilles or an ACL sometimes considered a 2-year injuries consistently, but a literal heart attack isn't taking the same understanding? That's about Bronny. I think it's because we look at things that aren't like physical injuries as like binary. Like, is he okay? Is he allowed to play again? Okay, then he should be the same. When in reality, it's the time off that I think really hurts these guys at times. Sixness says, what would it take for you to get into hockey? How much skew would you need to see in the Vegas books for betting to be a thing for you during the NHL season? For the sake of my marriage, I don't think I can pick up another sport that I'm into right now. Maybe at some point in life, but I just know so little about hockey. Kansas City didn't have a team. I've never been into it. So it's nothing against the sport. It'd be very, very tough for me to tell my wife now, by the way, also watching hockey, especially because I've kind of re-fallen in love with baseball thanks to Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals being legit again. All right, Alex, is there anything the Rockets can do over the last 10 games to make you believe they can win a single round? Yeah. To win a single round, for sure, there is stuff they can do. Because the Rockets have a tough-ish schedule, I should say, down the stretch. So the Atlanta, Utah is their next two. But then it's Phoenix, who's on a 4-game winning streak, Lakers, Utah again, Oklahoma City, Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Denver. If the Rockets play well during that stretch and hold their positioning, I certainly could see them winning a round. My fear for them is they're going to drop from the 2 to like the 4, and unless they are playing an injured Memphis team, I don't think they could. Again, I think the Rockets have had an unbelievable season. As is, they're going to win around 50 games. But for me to believe in them to win a round in the playoffs, they have to show me more. And Scott says, what would it take for Tom Levine on the hot seat? They haven't been a true contender since they lost to Jacksonville in 2017. Listen, he just got a contract extension, I think. The Steelers have had 3 coaches in 50 years. I actually think what could be best for the Steelers and for Tomlin would be a fresh start for both of them, but it doesn't. He's obviously an excellent coach. I just don't know that you can. I think if he could have gotten a job like the one Jim Harbaugh got, where the quarterback is taken care of and you build the rest of it up, that might be the best. And he just hasn't been able to figure out the offensive side of the ball post Big Ben or even with Big Ben near the end.